Welcome to New Voice Live 2.0. So we are embarking on a brand new journey. And so a couple things I wanted to get across before we started on our speakers and table topics tonight is, as I said, some of the changes that are happening. The first change is that we're going to move to, instead of a membership, to a donation system. So we have just ended the first 6-month period of our traditional Toastmasters like membership. We have a new group of folks who are now up for renewals come this January. Rather than continue on with those paid memberships, what we decided as the leadership team was to move to a donation system. And what we'll do is we'll kind of reveal that and announce that in the weeks coming. But essentially what that means for you all who are members, there's no renewal for you here for New Voice Live, but that we'll ask you to help by donating as we go along. And we'll talk about that, as I said, in the next few weeks. But what it really does is kind of officially marks our separation, let's call it, from traditional Toastmasters to New Voice Live. We will always have our in-person meetings at the new school whenever we return. And thank you to the new school students that are here. We wouldn't be here without them. But we're all looking forward to getting back into in-person meetings. There's, as much as we've tried to replicate it and do all these fun things with the stage, there's no comparing the live audience to what we do here. And I was heartened to hear Sabrina talk about the fact that she enjoyed public speaking. And that's kind of the thing, is that on the one hand, this can be terrifying. It is terrifying. But on the other hand, the thrill of this can be the greatest thing you can experience in a lifetime. Because if this is the number one fear, and you get to a place where you enjoy doing this, you have accomplished and conquered the number one fear. So I always describe it as walking a tightrope. You get up on a stage, and our job here at New Voice Live is to try to make this tightrope feel as high as possible. And the terror, gut-wrenching as you look down and going, oh my God, I'm on stage. But to also know that down below is always going to be an important safety net. That no matter what happens up there, if you fall, when you fall, because we're going to do lots of things to try to make you fall, you feel supported, unharmed, completely safe. And that's what we're here for. So we're moving to a system where we're going to have both the in-person and online meetings to create the stage for both of them. And then also to be able to say that we're part Toastmasters and part New Voice Live. All in the effort here to create a stage where we can practice the confronting the fear of being on stage. So that's one of the big changes is membership is now free. For those of you who are new here as guests, all we ask is if you want to join us is to fill out our membership profile. So if you are interested in joining us, feel free to reach out to Rob in the chat and he'll help you with some information there. And then for the rest of you, all we ask is you keep coming back to the meetings and sign up for these roles and these speeches. The other thing to note for New Voice Live 2.0 is that our curriculum has changed a bit. So we're only going to be doing one speech per episode and then up to 12 table topics. And that's going to allow for more people to get screen time and do their table topic speeches. Where we traditionally would have an evaluator for these speeches, we are also then going to change to include the old master classes. And we're going to bring back those in the next coming weeks as well, where instead of the evaluator being during the actual show, it'll be part of our after-hour sessions where we'll really do a deep dive into the speeches. And so that'll be coming up as well. So for tonight, we're just going to have Jorge as our speaker, and then we're going to dive into our table topics for the evening. And so if you haven't signed up, get your name on the table topic list, and Amy, who's going to be our table topic master of the evening, will greet you all when she's on stage. All right, with that said, let's move on now to our speaker tonight. And again, bear with me. I'm having to deal with some Wizard of Oz-like stuff in the background here. And that's going to be with Jorge. Let me see if I can get Jorge on the screen for us. Jorge, are you there? There you are.
I'm here.
Jorge, Good to see
Yes,
you.
you too.
So, Jorge, welcome. You're an old time, long time member of ours. You're giving your second speech tonight, right?
That's right.
And the title of your speech is 2021, if
Very,
I am I correct?
very original. Yes.
Very timely. But this is speech number two. And that speech number two is, can you remind us of speech number two, what the goal of speech number two
Get
is?
to the point.
It is get to the point. The traditional second speech of ours, which is after your icebreaker. And as we all know, for those for us who are longtime members, get to the point is the speech that comes right after the first, because the first speech icebreaker is always about free form. Tell us who you are. Tell us any way you want to tell us. After that, because we know you, after the icebreaker, we always want to know, okay, why are we listening? And get to the point is about that question. So for us in the audience, we're looking at Jorge's speech tonight and trying to evaluate, does Jorge get to the point? Does he let us know exactly why we're listening? And he'll have 4 minutes for that speech. So with that being said, Jorge, I think you know the drill. You'll get 4 minutes on the clock, and at 4.5 minutes, you'll hear the nice cue music to usher you off stage gently. But with that said, I'll let you take it away.
Good evening, club members and guests. Welcome to 2021, a magical time where all the fears have been forgotten. All the pain and suffering from 2020 is all gone, right? I guess you all won't agree with that statement, but hear me out. Today, in the next couple of minutes, I want you to invite you to do a little bit of reflecting on 2020 and then look ahead to 2021. What do I mean by that? Is I'm going to be sharing some ideas on three main areas, which is the global crisis, which we all know doesn't need any introduction. The second is research. What I mean by that is doing your own research. And third is life in general. So let's begin with the global crisis. Coronavirus hit. So some terrible things happen to a lot of people. They lost their friends, they lost their relatives. That is so sad. But at the same time, I would invite you to try to see the other side of the crisis and see what can crisis teach us. Maybe we can tweak it a little bit and empower ourselves to see it as an invitation to grow individually and maybe together as society. What else can crisis give us? I think it can also reveal our weaknesses and our strengths, which in turn will make us more resourceful. What do I mean by that? Or an example would be is like when the gyms are closed and I want still to do some workouts, I can still do them at home by using bottles of water and filling them with water to make them wait. So the global crisis can give us definitely some tools that we can use for the new year. Next, doing your own research. I think we can agree that all of us are figuring out things as we go through our lives. Why am I touching this topic? Because I was feeling alone. I was feeling isolated for some time. But I realized that I'm not the only one who's still asking questions and trying to learn new things. And that also will give you the ability to make your own decisions. Friends are okay, but following them blindly is not. So do research, learn, and make your own decisions to see if things are getting better or worse. And lastly, life. I think we should take care of ourselves, whatever that means or looks for you. If you want to allocate some time to be alone, or if you want to spend more time with your loved ones, by all means. And after I've shared those areas and those ideas with you, I invite you again to see if you can think about some takeaways from 2020 that can help you in this new year, 2021.
Jorge, that was a great speech there. I loved it. Very great and timely for 2021. And the thing is, as I said, we changed our curriculum. We don't have an evaluator. I was hoping to give you the evaluation kind of in master class, but we ran out of some time with trying to fix things. So I want to spend at least a couple minutes here to give you a little bit of feedback from my end. Um, First, where are you calling from, Jorge? I've always wondered where you're not in New York, are you?
Yes, New York,
You are in New York. Okay, gotcha. So, where in New York are you from?
Long Island, New York.
Okay, what brought you to New York?
No idea.
Got it. Um, you've always been somebody that I've enjoyed listening to because you've got a very free spirit, freestyle about you. Um, I'm guessing that when you speak, you spend a lot of time speaking extemporaneously, kind of just from the heart, from the head. Is that right?
Yes, I try.
Yeah. And that's kind of what we always are looking for to some extent here is, I always call this a place where we're trying to take the makeup off, where instead of feeling like we're forced and rehearsed, that we are truly just kind of natural on stage. And you always have that way about you where you feel very natural to me. And I think a lot of it has to do with your pacing. You've got a nice cadence and pacing. And when you're searching for a word, it doesn't necessarily always feel rushed. Sometimes it may not be the right word that you land on, but you give yourself time to feel out for the word. And for somebody whose language is English is not their primary language, that's even more powerful. So I always commend you and always feel great about listening to you because of your cadence and you feel very natural. The thing I think that I would appreciate a bit of, because what always gets me when you speak is when you talk about your personal life and things that happened to you personally. So the moment that I kind of latched on is when you had said you had a difficult time at some point, and then you were saying you felt a bit lonely. Those are the moments where I'm like, oh, Jorge, tell me more. I want to know about those personal, intimate details because those are the things that really connect us. When we talk about taking off the makeup, I'm talking about those moments, the moments that say, let me tell you about who I really am, so that we take all the makeup and all the anxiety away from it, and it becomes about the personal connection. So for me, my recommendation to you would be if you pair that nice cadence you have along with opening up about your own personal journey, which I think I'm guessing has a lot of interesting stories behind them. I think you could become a really powerful speaker. So I just want to pass that along. And so with that said, that's my 2 cents. We'll let the audience give you your feedback. Annie, would you mind in the chat putting the link in for the audience to give Jorge our feedback for him? And then Jorge, also the other thing we're going to do in masterclass is we've been asking people to do self-evaluations. We're also going to go through the self-evaluations in masterclass as well. So apologies for not being able to do that tonight, but in the future, your next speeches, we'll do that next time.
That's fine. Thank you, Henry.
Thanks for that speech. And folks, fill out the chat or the link in the chat for Jorge. And Jorge, you've got your self-evaluation. And I think we're going to listen to some Chili Peppers. Is that right, Jorge, for your 2 minutes? All right, with that being said, 2 minutes on the clock for Jorge's evaluation, please. And we'll see you on the other side. Okay, with that being said, it's time for me to introduce our table topic master for the evening, Amy Zins. Amy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Henry. And I'm nervous all over again because it's a new role for me. So, but that's what I love about this group. And God, did I really miss you guys on the last couple Fridays? My alarm would go off at 2:30. It's Toastmasters time, and no, anyway. So I'm really excited to be back and excited to do this because I always really love hearing everybody's stories. It was a challenge to come up with a question today, but because I had so many and I want to hear so much from everybody, but there will be plenty of time as we go on. So just to clarify for everybody how this works, and especially to introduce the system for you new folks. And all right, for you new folks signing up, that's what I did my first time here. And I was hooked. So I hope you become too, and I hope to see all of you again every Friday. You will notice that on the top of your screen, as you're looking at your computer screen, you will see a little timer. So that gives you a sense of where you're at. The goal is to stick around 2 minutes-ish, but we are not going to be brutal, not cut you off, because we really do want to hear your story. When you get to 2 minutes and a half, you'll start hearing some underlying music, like you're on one of those nighttime talk shows, and they're letting you know that your time is kind of wrapping up. It's gentle. At that point, you want to find the end of the story. Remember, you can always keep us hooked with another story another time if it's going to go a lot longer. But do kind of finish out because we do want to hear what it is that you have to say. And then at the end of everybody's speeches, we come to a point that I always find the most difficult part of the entire Toastmasters meeting, which is Annie's going to put into the chat a link that is going to take you to a voting place where you have to vote for what was your favorite speech of the day. It's always a really hard choice. That for me is always like, oh, can't I vote for all of them? Anyway, but think about that at, at the end. You'll get that link. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I've left out. I think that's it. So I think that we have coming up as our first speaker, was it Abubakar? And please, also, I do invite you, if I'm mispronouncing your name, please correct me. That's the one thing I ask you to do for me. So Abubakar, if you can turn on your camera, and welcome.
Hi, Amy, how are you?
Good, how are you doing? And Abubakar, I didn't get a chance to hear at the beginning, where are you logging in from today?
Logging in from Queens, New York.
Oh, Queens, New York. Cool. Awesome. Is that where you're from?
I'm originally from Manhattan.
Okay. Oh, gotcha. Okay, cool. I always wonder what brings people to different parts of New York. So cool. Cool. Well, welcome. And I'm just going to ask, are you comfortable with everything? Ready to go ahead and get started with your story?
Of course, yes, I am.
Oh, actually, you know what? I am forgetting one thing. Again, here I am. So again, our question is, what gives you hope, feeds your courage, and inspires your joy? And the word of the day, if you should happen to have a way of working it into your story, is commitment. Not required, but you get a couple little extra accolades if you're able to find a way to work commitment in. And again, my apologies for giving you a false start there, but I turn the mic over to you. The show is yours.
The question, what gives me hope, fuels my courage, inspires my joy. I'll say my family. We're very tight knit, and we're a very large family. I have like 8 brothers and 4 sisters. So it's good to have a huge family because it will help us, set goals, and we can all achieve them, and we all bring different skill sets to the table. Um, it makes me feel so grateful that I have a big family because not many people have that much family. I would hear people have like 3 or 4 brothers and sisters, and that's about it. What also gives me hope is, this year, I want to achieve more goals, be more committed to come to Toastmasters, and presenting myself in front of the camera. Thank you.
Beautiful. That was very inspiring. You set a great example that it's not having to stretch it out into that 2 minutes. It's just saying what is really, truly meaningful. And I loved how your speech reflected what is most important is what's right there for us, family. And I was thinking about how even before you gave your official speech, talking about how you moved from Manhattan to Queens, made me feel an affinity for you. I moved from San Francisco to Berkeley, same thing. So being well-grounded in family is really one of the best foundations we can have. So thank you for reminding us about that it's really what's right before us and what's right all around us. That's really what counts and matters in life. So thank you for that. And next up we have Alex McCarney. Alex, you can turn on your camera and we'll have you right on the main screen in a moment. And Alex, can you remind us where you're hailing from today?
Yeah, I'm in Montreal, in Quebec.
Montreal, wow. So we're international today.
I guess
cool.
we are. Yeah,
Cool. And I guess just because of a lot of people moving around and because we're all over the place. Are you originally from Montreal, Alex?
No, I'm originally from Ontario, which is the province next door to Montreal.
Oh, cool.
But
Wish I
I
could.
but I've been in Montreal about half my life, so
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Cool.
I'm like a barnacle. I'm stuck here.
Wonderful. Maybe I'll get around to coming to visit you sometime. I
Oh, I
wonder if
hope
it's
so.
wonderful.
Take an Amtrak once it goes right from downtown to downtown. There you
Okay, great. Thank you. And are you ready to start off with your story?
are. I'm locked and loaded, as they say.
Well, looking forward to it.
Well, thank you so much for your wonderful question. What gives me joy, what inspires me, what gives me courage, what gives me hope is thinking about how we can best communicate with each other in this time of trial and tribulation. It seems that we're drifting apart in many respects, but I don't think we have to drift apart. I think if we can focus on each other and focus not on politics and focus not on skin color or religion or country or any of the extraneous, silly, filler. We talk about filler words, but this is filler emotion. There's so much sadness and grief, and we have to get through that and past that. And a way that I found is through nonviolent communication, which I've spoken about before. It's a very simple way to observe the emotions that we're all feeling, and then to focus deeper into the actual needs that each of us have. And needs are fundamental. It doesn't matter where you're from, whether you're from Kuala Lumpur or Kalamazoo, we all have needs. And if we can see through the pain and the emotion into the deeper need, I think we can get to this hope, get to this courage, get to the strength, get to the love. Everything that we share, it seems complicated, but it's not that complicated. It's just being human, in my view. And so, Madam Topics Master, with that, I hope we can all look into the feelings that we all share. I hope that we can come together, like the song says, and I hope that we can show love and empathy and compassion. Back to you.
Thank you, Alex. Also very heartfelt. And what a beautiful connection. We went from Abubakar talking about family, as in more like those that we share more direct blood with, to the family of humankind. And so that was really beautiful hearing you touch upon all the different aspects of what make the world family and all of that interconnection, and especially the nonviolent communication. That is something which we all rely on to really be able to flourish in the world and in life and in our personal lives and with each other. So thank you so much for that inspiration also. Really appreciate that very much. Welcoming our next speaker. He is John Britton. John, looking forward to hearing your story today. And John, where did you say that you are located today?
In Hoboken, New Jersey,
Hoboken, New Jersey.
birthplace of Frank Sinatra.
All right. And
and baseball.
really, okay.
But don't
Very
tell
cool.
Cooperstown. They think that they were the first. It was actually here.
Wonderful. And just this is, I guess, my interest of the day is: have you always lived in Hoboken or that area?
No, I actually grew up in a small town called Edgewater, New Jersey, which is on the Hudson River, right across from New York City.
Mm-hmm.
So it was interesting to be growing up in a small town right across from a big city. And yeah.
Great. So we're hearing lots of new voices from all over our country and Canada 2 now. So great. Looking forward to hearing your story whenever you are ready, sir.
I really love what Alex said, and I echo that 100% in terms of communication. And I've actually made my living as an English teacher now for the past 20 years. And so I'm very much about having better dialogue, with my students, building community in the classroom, okay, teaching for social justice. I have a book, my new book is called Education to Save the World, okay? We have to remember, we have 10 years left. Scientists say this, not me, scientists say this. We have 10 years left to save our planet. So we need to get to work on that, okay, and learn to love each other more. Paulo Freire, one of my favorite educational thinkers, said we need to teach for a world in which it's easier to love. So this is what gives me joy. How do we teach for love? How do we teach for justice and caring? And I think it starts with our relationships. I'm waiting for my darling wife to come home from work. She should walk in the door any second, and I'm going to call for some Chinese food tonight. So if the phone rings, don't, get upset. But anyway, it is such a joy to be here, to be in community. I think community is what gives me joy and pleasure. And especially now in its absence, we don't have enough of it. So, but I try to take walks every day. I live in Hoboken. We have a main street, which is considered one of the top 10 streets in America because of its walkability. And I see neighbors with my mask on, and just a little wave, a little bit of dialogue here and there, boom, boom, is enough to sort of get me through the day, and lots of phone calls. And I wonder how much growth we're going to get out of this. I'm hoping for the growth. And I'm preparing to get my EDD in education leadership, focusing on stories, on leadership through stories. So stories also give me joy, and learning how to tell my stories better gives me joy. And that's why I'm here. And there's nowhere else I'd want to be right now. So. Thank you.
Awesome. And sounds like we're really fleshing out a plan for the way the world can go forward. So far, between the three of you that have spoken, giving us all of those things that we need more of in the world. And that's great. The Education to Save the World. Thanks for giving a little plug for your book that some folks might be interested in. And I find that very inspiring. I started off today by hearing a radio show with someone who feels that there still is a chance if we take enough action to actually reverse things. So thank you through your inspiration for inspiring all of us, that there are people out there who are doing the work to make the world a better place. Thanks for that. Thank you. And next we have Sabrina. Welcome, Sabrina. Again, glad to have a first timer here, and excited to hear what you have to say. I hear that you're in New York right now. That's correct?
I'm actually not in New York right now. I'm in Washington, D.C., but I do go to Parsons in New York usually.
Okay, great. And did you grow up based in D.C. or?
I did. Yes, I spent my entire 18-year childhood in this house.
Oh, wonderful. Great. Well, I'm glad to have you here. And this is a nice way for you to be able to transition maybe a little bit with the New York set. And really looking forward to hearing your talk today. So whenever you're ready.
Thank you. So something that I've been thinking about throughout this meeting that gives me hope was brought up by Kaylee earlier. And that's just the idea of recognizing progress in yourself, which is something very hard. And I have a little bit of a two-part answer to this question, because I personally recognize progress in myself through talking to other people and through using my contacts almost as an affirmation, which I'm working on. And I'm certainly working on trying to recognize progress in myself without having to reach out to other people. But right now I'm definitely trying to leverage the contacts and people I have around me, whether it's my mom or my brother or my friends, even if it's, asking them to edit something I've written or asking their advice for a situation, how I should approach it. any little things like that, just using the thoughts and opinions of others around me, I think is a really useful tool, especially like we've all been saying now, when community doesn't exactly feel so close as it used to. To tie in that commitment word, I think I really just want to stay committed to using the people I have around me to my benefit. And so a couple examples, I suppose, I guess, of ways that I find progress in myself without people initially is doing a relatively thoughtful self-assessment of maybe where I was this time last year. It's a great time to do that now at the start of a new year. But I'm generally pretty hard on myself, so I don't exactly find that many things that I feel like I've really improved on year after year. But like I mentioned before, even FaceTiming friends, sometimes my friends will say, "Oh, you know what, Sabrina, you used to always think this way, and now it's actually really cool to hear you talk about this in a different way." It's a vague example, but there's the power of friends and educators has really been promising so far, and I'm excited to keep on utilizing all of those as the year continues. So thank you.
Thank you, Sabrina, and congratulations on your initial speech here, your inaugural speech here at New Voices Live. And I'm excited for you too. And I also want to say thank you for laying out some things that have worked for you, strategies, sorry, tongue-tied, strategies that have worked for you that are also quite generous for you to share with us as ideas for things that we can do also to continue learning and growing and making connections also. So I really want to thank you for those and for sharing those. We heard earlier about more of external, and it was really nice in your speech for bringing it more internal and how we can all nurture ourselves and yet make those connections. So thank you.
Awesome.
And our next speaker is Trey. Trey, welcome back. Trey, you know, I'm trying to remember where you hail from.
I'm from the planet of Brooklyn.
The planet of Brooklyn. All right. And have you always lived on this planet, or are you an interterrestrial?
Yeah, I was born and raised in the planet of Brooklyn. I live
Okay.
all of 10 blocks away from my parents. They still live in the house that I grew up in.
Awesome. Cool. So really getting that sense of family. The micro and the macro today is really blending into all of this. Cool. Well, welcome. Good to see you back, my New Voices family member. And whenever you'd like, the stage is all yours.
Okay. So what gives me joy and hope? The thing that brings me joy and hope is actually the same thing that takes it away, and that's other people. Unfortunately, there are people out there. We share the planet with people who, to quote a pretty popular movie, some people just want to watch the world burn, and that really saddens me. But it does give us an opportunity to really appreciate the things that give us hope. I think that we can't really appreciate the light without darkness. So when we have these situations where people are out here acting a fool, maybe trying to harm or hurt other people, the thing that brings me hope and joy is seeing the greatness in those around us who step up to the plate, recognize whenever things are not right or just, and want to do something about it, want to make a change. It's things like that gives me the hope, the passion, the joy to want to keep going, as well as inspire others whenever I can, in order to be able to see the difference, as well as make a change themselves. So I would also tack on surrounding myself with those kind of people who are like-minded, who want to make that kind of difference, And I believe it was Dale Carnegie that once said that you'll make more friends in 2 months being genuinely interested in them than you will in 2 years of trying to get them to like you. So I think that that's where I want to leave off with this one.
Thank you, Trey. Yeah. Words of wisdom and inspiration. So I really appreciate that. And in a sense, you did with your speech what you talked about appreciating about it, and acknowledging that darkness and that lightness. Those that take joy also give you, those same kinds of things also bring joy and hope. Is really important to point out. And by your pointing that out, is like reaching out a hand to everybody who's has the benefit and the honor to hear you as you're reaching your hand out to remind us about that and that that's out there and to invite people to participate. And yep, great that I don't know if you could see in the little sidebar there, but that quote from Dale Carnegie, and that's really awesome. So yeah, a great way, just being out in public, you want to make a connection, you can talk to people anywhere and anytime and find out and bring joy to people's life. So thank you for being that light and a beacon, an example for us. Much appreciated. And our next speaker is Piotr. And am I saying your name right, Piotr?
Not quite. It's pronounced Piotr.
Piotr. Piotr?
Yes, or Peter if that's a little bit easier.
No, I'd rather get it correct. Piotr. Piotr. Thank you. And Piotr, where are you today?
I live in Fairview, New Jersey, which is just up the hill from Edgewater, New Jersey. So respect to the Hoboken resident. That said, Edgewater was a little town across from the Hudson because it's not a little town anymore. Mm-hmm. But yes, Fairview, New Jersey.
Have you been around to see it grow, or did you come there from someplace else?
No, not exactly. I was in Brooklyn before, and then a different part of New Jersey. So I've seen some development, which has obviously accelerated like many things in the past 4 or 5 years. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I don't want to date or offend. Jared, I'm sorry. I can't remember the speaker's name. John, sorry. I just had to scroll over to you. I'm not going to date you. I don't know when you lived there. So it's a nice place if you guys are interested in a visit.
Super. Great. Well, thank you for bringing us stories from that part of the world. And whenever you're ready, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. This question is one that I think I myself and all of you, it seems, either consciously or subconsciously always think about. It's always present, right? Especially in challenging times. What I found is that, like Trey, people seem to do a lot for inspiring me and bringing me joy. It's common to have fears and anxieties and doubts about yourself and your abilities. And what helps a lot with that is understanding and seeing people overcome some of those same challenges that you have. When you have them, just understand that the people that you look up to, the idols, the athletes, the writers, the intellectuals, the people that have achieved things in life also have them. And that is a continuing source of inspiration for me because it just means that I am also capable of achieving the same thing. It's just a matter of commitment to consistency, perhaps, commitment to working on yourself, commitment to showing up every day, even when it feels like the progress is slow, as Sabrina had said. And she also said a lot of wise things for someone so young, I would say. Surrounding yourself with people who can help you accelerate your growth and who nurture your growth is probably the best thing you can do, and I'm sure Dale Carnegie would agree. So if any of you haven't considered a New Year's resolution, I encourage you to postulate possibly doing that. even though we still live in a virtual world, you can still think about curating a brain trust of sorts and keep in regular touch with these people who can regularly inspire you, regularly surprise you, but also regularly serve as a source of courage and inspiration for you. So good luck.
And yeah, really nice also relating to what some of your fellow speakers, Toastmasters speakers have said today. So that was a really nice sense of connection also, and inspiration, and inviting us to, again, participate in that kind of connection, and building a brain trust. So really getting a lot of great advice from each other today. Thank you for that. Next speaker is Asantie. Asantie, welcome. I was hoping I'd see you here today.
Hi, hello.
Hello, welcome. And Asantie, remind us where you are logging in from today.
Well, I'm currently in Barbados. I'm currently back home.
Oh my goodness, wow, wonderful. And that is back home for you, so that's great. How long have you been out there? Were you there toward the end of the year when we were seeing you, or?
Yes, I've been since about mid-December.
Okay, great, cool. Well, I hope you're, and I assume you're surrounded by family?
Yes.
Yes, awesome, cool. Well, what a great place to be. Again, linking into some of the earlier talks that we had. So looking forward to hearing your story. And whenever you're ready, the stage is yours.
Hi, good evening, everyone, fellow Toastmasters. Happy New Year. And for me, this was such a great question because it tied into some of the introspection that I think a lot of us tend to have throughout the end of the year, coming into the new year. And just one thing that I try to hold on to for hope and some strength, I think, is that everything happens for a reason and things always work out the way that they're supposed to. And as cliche as it sounds, I think everything just kind of comes full circle when you think about life and when you think about things that don't quite turn out the way you want it to. When you think about it like that, there's no love lost, there's no harm done. When you think about how some things work out and some things don't. And that is just one of the things that I'm holding on to, because last year was a really rough year, just anxiety, just ups and downs. And it all turns around into something that is a master plan that I haven't discovered yet, but I'm choosing to believe is something that's going to be incredible for me. And I hope that your master plans are incredible for you as well. And the thing that inspires me is seeing those that I love overcome adversity, even in that time. I saw a quote that sometimes you can't wait until all your ducks are in a row. Sometimes you need to pick up everything and just make a run for it. And I've seen quite a few people who are close to me do that, and they're thriving and they're doing well. And it has inspired me to no end to continue to push and to continue to strive for what I want and to be successful in that as well. So those are the things that I'm taking into this new year, and just hoping that everything will be okay.
Thank you, Asantie. Some also great words of wisdom there for us, and also they're beautifully dovetailed with what some of your fellow Toastmasters have said, and referring to qualities of lightness and darkness. I love the thing that you said about sometimes you can't, it was someone else you were quoting, but sometimes you can't wait till all your ducks in a row. You got to just pick them up and drag them on. So
Run.
And run for it. Beautifully said. I think I'll always have that nice image in my head of sometimes what just has to be what to be. And for reminding us that sometimes things work out and sometimes they don't. And that's just part of the balance of life. True words of wisdom. Thank you very much. And our next speaker of today is Suleman. Suleman, welcome.
Hello.
Hello, and welcome. Is this your first time to this Toastmasters?
Yes, it is.
Well, welcome very much, and I'm so glad that you signed up for a table topic. Where are you hailing in from today?
I'm calling in from Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay, welcome from Atlanta. And Atlanta, is that your longtime home, or is this someplace also that you've immigrated to?
No, this is my longtime home. I've been here since I was born.
Wonderful. Great. Well, thank you for representing Atlanta. Good to have you here today, and looking forward to hearing your speech. So the stage is yours.
So the thing that what really gives me hope and fuels my courage and what really gives me joy is it's kind of like my belief in God, because I feel like in life there's going to be a lot of challenges, a lot of hardships, so many problems that come in life, and that's just a part of life. Meaning there's nobody who's reached success, or there's no one who got what they wanted in life with having an easy path or an easy road. But knowing, for me at least, that there's God and he will make everything better, and there's something that's around the corner after the failure, after the struggle, that's what really gives me hope. That's what gives me courage, because I know everything will get better eventually, and everything will come to where everything will start working together. It'll fit like a puzzle. Everything will happen, because one thing I heard from Tony Robbins is that you have to find something to serve that's greater than you. And for me, that's God, serving him, because by doing that, that's what gives me hope out of those times of need and the times of, when times are getting hard, when times are getting tough. But knowing that God has a plan for me, that there's a reason this is happening. Because if you don't know, because if you never knew that these things are happening to you for a reason, it would cause you, just feel like, the life hates me. The world hates me. I'm a failure. I'm not meant to do anything with my life. But because, at least for me, that when I know that God's doing this for a reason, I don't think like that anymore. I don't have those negative thoughts that come in. Those negative thoughts are switched into more of like a positive thought now. Now they think this is meant for me. I'm happy this is happening to me, because now I know that there's something around that corner now, that's something greater is going to happen for me. Something that's even better than where I am in life. It's going to improve from here. So that's why I think that's for me at least. But everyone, I believe they can find what they want to serve that's greater than them. They can find that thing, then they can also find the time when they're in the time of need, or when they're going through those struggles, they can also find their way out of it. They just have to find that purpose in their life.
Beautiful philosophy, Suleman. And it was, your passion was so infusing. I could feel it coming through the screen, and the authenticity of your having found your purpose and your commitment to God, and how that drives your life in the way that is so right and perfect for you. And I could just feel that I am convinced that your commitment and passion for God, being able to help direct your life, is going to really help lead you to whatever successes you are looking for and committed to in your life. So thank you for sharing that, and for sharing also how that infuses you with belief in everybody finding that purpose, and that will be what's right for them. So really beautiful, and thank you for sharing that with us. And our next speaker for today is Rob. Rob, looking forward to what you have to share with us today. And once again, happy birthday. And thank you for sharing part of your birthday
Amy.
with us. That's great. Rob, where are you today? And what town are you coming to us from today?
The same as Trey. I'm in Brooklyn.
From Brooklyn. And are you a Brooklyn boy like he?
I'm actually from California, so I'm more from your side of the world, but I've been out here for about 20 years, so I feel more Brooklyn than California.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, glad you're in Brooklyn now and celebrating this birthday today. And did you want to share anything with us? Just any last words or first words, quick words about what you're doing special for your birthday?
Oh, it was yesterday, and my wife took me to the MoMA, so that was fun. The Donald Judd exhibit was
oh nice.
was there. So
cool. Well, maybe in the after gathering, if you have time, you can tell us more about that. But for now, we all want to hear your story today.
Thank you, Amy, and thank you to everyone that's spoken before. You know, it's a tough time. 2021, you felt like it was going to be this magical snap, and you wake up and everything's back to normal. And it really hasn't been. There's definitely a lot of hope, and I have a commitment that things are going to get better. And this week has been tough. We were about to buy a home that we'd been working on for a very long time, and just today it fell through. And you know, it's when you are so set on something and you have a vision in your head of what you want and everything's working towards that, and then it just falls out from under you, it really just knocks the wind out of your sail. And you know, to some of the other people's speeches, you start to ask yourself, gosh, like, God, could anything else go wrong? And then you look around and you find hope in those things, the people that love you, the community you're in, your fellow New Voice Livers, and you realize that some of these things that you hope for and are working towards, maybe they're not meant to be, like Asantie said. And like Suleman had just talked about, you know, maybe there is a plan that God has, and certain things just aren't meant to happen. And I think letting go and just being okay with letting things go where they're supposed to go is something I could kind of trust in, and know that the right thing will always happen. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Rob, for sharing with us something that didn't have to be upbeat, but that is just kind of like real, you know, as you said, that you got from the other speakers, that we have our ups and downs in life. And I think it was really, you know, I tell my students that it's not courageous to speak only from a state of power, but to be vulnerable is really the biggest courage you can have, is to be vulnerable and open. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. And what an honor.
No problem. Sorry to be the Debbie Downer.
No, not at all. It's an honor it's an honor to know that you trust us and feel comfortable enough with us to share that with us. And I hope it's okay that I'm speaking for, if not everybody, at least a lot of us here who are holding you in our hearts and really, you know.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
There for you with that. And also, like you said, that others have shared with you in different ways, that life is a balance of positive and negative, light and dark. And you have that wonderful wife and kids that you've spoken about in other stories that I've heard. And so it's good to know that you have so much goodness around you too. So thank you for.
Absolutely.
Great table. Yeah, thank you. And bringing us in for a close, unless there's more openings, I don't know how we're doing on time, but bringing us in for now, I think it looks like a close, is going to be Sean. So Sean, welcome to the stage. And
hey, Amy.
Hey, and I know I got to hear a little bit, but where are you? I know you're not at home right now, but where are you right now? Home and not home, both, right?
Yes, yeah, I'm at my parents' home. We both live pretty close to each other, similar to Trey and his folks.
Cool. And is it okay if I ask what town you're in?
Sure, yeah. I've lived my entire life in New York City.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thanks for bringing us into yet one more of your homes. And I'm really excited to hear your story.
So I'll begin by saying that as a person who stutters, what I'm supposed to do every time that I speak is tell you who I am. Because for the 24 years that I had an out of control stutter, my identity was very broken. And as soon as I saw your question, Amy, I had to sign up because every day as a person who stutters, I have to practice those three things. And every day that I speak to other people who, every day that I speak to people who stutter and speak to people who are fluent, I always think about joy, hope, and courage. From a personal standpoint, I think I fully understood what hope was 7 years ago when I found the program that helped me gain control of the way that I speak. I find joy every single day because once upon a time I would do everything to avoid a speaking situation. And these days I do public speaking for fun. So that's a complete 180. And the final thing about courage, I think when it comes to courage, you can't have courage without fear. And for a long time, I was a very afraid person. But it's because of all those years of crippling fear and anxiety that I was able to find courage. And I take great pride in helping other people find theirs at the same time. Because if you're a person who stutters, or if you're a fluent person, you all have obstacles and challenges that we're all trying to overcome. And that's why all of us are here today and for the foreseeable future. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. I really appreciated your taking on very directly all three of each of the topics that were put out there. And as Alex just put in the sidebar there, that you inspire all of us. And I really enjoy always hearing your talks. And it was interesting this time hearing a little bit about how you laid out your journey of the 7 years. Finding a program and then changing. And something occurred to me from what you said today, too, that I think is inspiring is I really liked you, since you call yourself someone who stutters, is saying people who stutter and people who are fluent. So there's like, because if there's going to be a label, there's like labels light and dark, right? This and that. Not that either stutter or fluent is light or dark. It's they're both, but just balance. And I think we probably all have different ways in which we stutter in our lives, whether yours happens to be with speaking and others are other aspects of our lives. So thank you again for your inspiration, as always. And I think I just want to say thank you for everybody for creating that real balance and being so inspiring through all of your talks today. And I really also thank you, and also commend everybody who this was your first time at a Toastmasters and your first time speaking. Yay. And those of you who didn't get a chance to speak, that's the only other hard part, is that we don't get to hear from everybody at every single meeting. But keep on coming back and keep on speaking. And I think now is there going to be the link put in to, is this where the link gets put in, or is it later? And please forgive me, since this is my first time.
Yes, Amy, this is where the link would go in. So I think it's Annie that's going to put that link in there.
Okay, cool. So the link, and do we take it 2 minutes out? Again, forgive me for, do we take?
Actually, no. We're going to go into our roles for the evening. But you did a great job on table topics. And so just like I said, every time I come, there is moments of inspiration here every week. And this is why I do it. There's, when we were in person, I would always say, This is the greatest skill of all. If there's anything that you could do to improve yourself, this is it. Whatever it is that we want and desire in life, we have to articulate it. We have to be able to express those things that we want. And that's why people come for leadership here. There's all kinds of things that this will do for you to help you accomplish and achieve the things that we want in professional ways. But there's a much deeper reason for this, and that's the connection that gets formed when you share stories, and in particular, stories that are vulnerable and things that you may not want to share because it makes people uncomfortable. That's also the power. And, for you, Rob, I didn't get your timer because the minute you started speaking, I was enwrapped and I completely forgot to turn on the time. So I know the timer doesn't have your time, but that's what I'm talking about. We are so used to all the polish of Facebook and resumes and all the people who are on television that look fabulous. But that's not the real world. The real world is one in which we're trying to connect with people individually. And the easiest way, the best way for us to do that is, as Rob did, was to be vulnerable, to share. Because at the end of the day, what happens is, as a listener, you come to admire that person's courage. For Sean, every time he speaks and he talks about the fact that he has to overcome a stutter, I feel like, man, if Sean can do it, I should be able to do it. And that's the inspiration that all of us are looking for. And that's why I come back. So for you all who are here tonight, as always, thanks. But it's really the inspiration that I get every week that motivates me and keeps me coming back. So thanks for that. With that said, also, I want to add, in addition to the curriculum changes and the things we're doing with 2.0, we're also going to look for folks who want to help us as mentors. One of the things we haven't had a chance to do since we've been working so hard to build this is kind of do some traditional leadership things like mentorship. So if anyone is interested in being a mentor, would you do us a favor and put your name in the chat? Send that to Annie so that we can keep a record of that. And we'll advertise you, list you as somebody who's open to being a mentor for other folks who need somebody to help them get better as public speakers. And, the beauty of our club here is that we have people from all kinds of backgrounds, all kinds of skill levels. For those of you who are non-native English speakers, the courage you guys show always is the part that floors me. I speak Korean in bits and drabs, and I'm always mortified when I try to speak Korean. So the idea that you are here speaking a second language as fluent as you all do every week is admirable. So that's the whole point, right? We are all at different levels. As I love the way Amy put it, we all have stutterers in all of our lives. Some may manifest in a language, some may manifest in lots of different other ways, but we all stumble along the way. So this is a way for us all to get past our little stumbles. So thanks for that. And with that said, let us turn into our end of meeting roles, and we'll get our grammarian on the screen. And that is going to be Devika, I believe. So let's get Devika up there. Devika, welcome. Why don't you let me get my stuff off the screen, let you do your thing here. Hold on 1 second. I think I just lost you.
Oh, I'm right here.
There you go. Why don't you give us our grammarian count if you would?
Sure. Thanks, Henry. So once again, I want to welcome all the guests and Toastmasters tonight. I hope you had a great start to the new year. And what great way to begin the new year than with a fresh perspective and commitment for developing and improving some personal skills like the art of public speaking. Tonight, all topic speakers were simply marvelous. I was left feeling full of hope, positivity, inspiration, and motivation after hearing everyone speak today, especially after the whirlwind of a year that we've all had. So let's begin our grammarian count. So Jorge, as your second speech, talk about Grammarian report. You said so 4 times, and that's about it. Um, and for the table topics section, Amy, first of all, I want to congratulate you. You were amazing at being the host, being the table topics master, very pleasant and charming as always. You connected very well with everyone as well. And table topic speakers, first is Abubakar. You said so 1 time, 3 times, and like 1 time. Next is Alex. You said the word of the day, and you didn't use any filler words. Uh, Next is John. You said and twice, so twice, and once. And next is Sabrina, giving us great inspirational advice. You said and twice, sorry, and 5 times, so 1 time, and 2 times, and you also used the word of the day. And I'm sorry if I missed the word of the day. If any of the previous speakers used it, I couldn't, write it here. Next is Trey. You used filler word so twice, and that's all. Uh, Peter, you said and twice, and you used the word of the day. Asantie, you also said and twice, and so once. Suleman, I was so engrossed in your passionate speech that I just didn't catch any filler word, but you used commitment, the word of the day. And Rob, same, I just couldn't um, detach myself from your speech, which was very sobering, and I could only capture that you used once, and you of course used the word of the day. Sean, you also used once. So that's my speech. That's my Grammarian report. Thanks so much.
Thank you for that. And now let's turn it over to Sean. I think, Sean, you're our timer for the evening. Is that correct?
Yes, I am.
Sean, I'll let you take it away.
Sure thing. I thought I was finished speaking, but here I am. All right. So before I go into the timer report, I'll just say that every single person stayed on time, which was great to see. So I'll begin with Jorge's speech. Jorge, you clocked in at 4:45. Abubakar, you spoke first. You clocked in at 55 seconds. Alex, it's always a pleasure to hear you speak. 2:15. John Braden, good to see you. 2:10. Sabrina, it was great to have you on the call and for you to speak during your very first time here. You were at 2 flat. Trey, I think I got distracted by your hoodie. I think you clocked in at 1:55. Peter, 2:10. Asantie, 2:10. Suleman, 2 flat. Rob, 1:45. And Sean, 2:10. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Sean. Great job. And so that's going to wrap up our first edition of New Voice Live 2.0. I'm glad you all could make it. We had a relatively glitch-free show. And so for me, this is about making these errors, the stutters, the little trip ups, make them here so that the rest of the world out there is easy. And as I said, there's no better skill than being able to be comfortable in front of an audience and in fact embrace being in front of an audience. I think that's what we're all trying to get to. So congrats to you all for doing that. For those of you who didn't get a chance to speak, As I said, we've shifted our membership into free membership, so please feel free to send us a message and we'll get you membership information, but you're always welcome to come back and sign up for Table Topics next week. We'll have more information about our curriculum change plus Zen Masterclass coming up as well, and the membership program after that as well. So for tonight, we'll wrap that up. Anybody that wants to stick around for after hours to ask any questions about our upcoming curriculum and changes, please feel free to do so. And for you guests, if you have any questions about our membership, feel free to stay afterwards as well. It's just a chance for us to finally take the makeup off in after hours and have some cocktails and just enjoy each other's company. So with that said, we'll wrap up tonight's show and we'll see you guys next Friday.